Hey everyone, welcome back to Rosenburg. I am very excited about this episode because right after building the highway I realized my old PC was really becoming too laggy and I ended up buying a new PC for myself as a Christmas gift. So the first bit of this episode will be a bit laggy, I am sorry about that, but after the highway construction I will give you a nice tour and show you how much better everything looks with all the settings maxed out. After we rebuild some parts of the highway, we will work on the public transport in the financial district. I want it to be easy to reach and I feel like a metro is the perfect fit for it. We will be adding a metro throughout Central and Old Rosenburg. In between, I will try to update the Hotels and Retreats DLC. I won't be able to get it to the highest level this episode, but I might try and get there in between this and the next video. I'm looking to get the nicer high-level hotels so we can put them in significant locations such as the financial district. To finish off, I will zone a couple of blocks to allow for population growth. I do still have my eye on that next milestone so we can build a university. This is a bit of a random episode doing a mix of public transport, hotels and development, but I'm excited to show you my new PC. Let's get started. Look at this, it's still laggy. I hope you guys will stick around. It will absolutely get better. Now that I have connected this makeshift urban highway to make a couple of intersections, I think it's the right moment to upgrade this to 2 separated highway roads. As the city grows, it'll be a nice luxury to have an urban highway. I'm going to use the tools at my disposal and use the parallel road tool to copy the road I've already got over here. I'll make a start right here, about this length. I'll go for about 25 meters. I don't think we will need to upgrade these roads to 3 lanes each way, but it's easier to reserve the space than to try and fix it later. So for the bridge section, I'll actually try to parallel it as well. We will need to get a new interchange that has separated road segments for either directions. The more I play around this specific area, the more I realize I hate the design I made here. With this train track switching in between the highway, I've made it more difficult than it really needs to be. So I'll probably have to give myself another bit of a headache by changing this up again in the future, but I think we will have to. On this other side, let's start with something that should be the easiest interchange here. Initially I was thinking I would improve on what's already there, so I built the highway over the main road, but it really should be the other way around, so I'm attaching the exit and entry lanes and then changing my mind on the highway bridges. Instead I'm going under and lowering the segments with Move It and smoothing everything out, of course. I like the look of this. I know it's not necessarily the interchange with the best heavy traffic flow, but I'm hoping we should be alright for at least a long little while. I will continue on to the next interchange, which is this connection into the bike roads with trees, and this provides quite a direct connection into the CBD. I will just do the same as we just did, so let me just skip ahead for this one. Nice! Some shoveling dirt around and we're good to go to the next 2 interchanges, which I am a bit less excited about. I will just use one interchange from the Steam Workshop, which is a trumpet interchange and has 2 separated directions. Honestly, I was doubting heavily if I shouldn't put in some sort of small cloverleaf so I can also allow for a direct highway connection into our new area and Pokeball districts on the other side of the creek. Now that I'm looking at it again and doing the voiceover, I'm thinking maybe I should have done that. It's just that it feels like a bit of a miss to not use an additional entry point. On the other hand, it's really not necessary as there's no backing anywhere. I may change my mind on this interchange when we get further ahead in the game, and it could totally become a meme. How often will the Rosenburg or industry interchange change? I think this is already the 4th time. The Rosenburg Council will attempt to pass a vote to change up this interchange again, and the citizens will probably rally and complain about it. It'll be the local hot topic that people will be super divided about. In the meantime, I've put in this pre-made interchange. I'm checking the height and pillars and selecting everything to go lower. Now I'm just using the network multi-tool to make everything look smooth. I honestly cannot imagine that I used to do these things without network multi-tool. It's just way better to build with this tool. It makes it easier to make things look good. I'm neatly connecting everything and using the arrange at line mode and sloping tools to get everything smooth like butter. That does leave us with the most annoying part of this area, which is this intersection into the ore industry. This area is quite constrained with the train tracks and the intersection into the ore living quarters. I'm thinking I will give it a trial while trying to change as little as possible, and then we can have a look if it's acceptable or not. Yeah, this is not working with the train line as it is now. Let's remove that train track, put in a better interchange, and then we can redo the train line. And here's the new interchange. It looks loads better in my opinion. I ended up making the exit and entryways well longer. I evened out the train tracks, moved it slightly, dropped them lower, and made a couple of different connections that make a lot more sense. I also added some rock features to make it look like support walls, and this intersection is done. And let's also take a look at this city hostel that I put near the city center. I've also put in the budget hotel. It is opposite of the Old Town Park right here. I don't really like this location, but I've tried moving it to other locations and this one just seems to be the best one for now. I like to think it's a temporary location anyway, and we'll use this location to upgrade the hotel chain to the next levels. There's also the cabin that we can add, and I think we will need it to upgrade to the next level. So let's find a good spot for it. It feels a bit ridiculous, but I can put 2 cabins or so right here on this bank. It feels secluded and still has plenty of natural features to enjoy, so I think I'm going to do it. I'm moving the cabins around a bit as I want them to have some extra nature points, but I cannot put them too far away from the sightseeing area. And I think this looks about right. Honestly, looking at it from this angle, I feel like you're not going to get a better view than this. This actually looks amazing. While we let that do its thing, I am most excited about this next, the very first metro line of Rosenburg. I personally love metro lines because you can really put them anywhere and it's so easy to plop them in as you don't have to see them anyway. Some people find that the downside to it, but I don't really mind. I do want to think about raising the metro up to ground level when we get to the outskirts of Rosenburg, but that's not relevant for today. So I want this line to do a couple of things. First of all, this line is being put in because of this district, so let's plop one station in right in front of the trading building. I did consider to put it a little bit closer to the train station, but I think we're better off dedicating this metro to moving people around in central Rosenburg. 2 stops seems pretty good for this area, so let's move on down below. I absolutely want to add a metro stop at the party district right here. It ensures people find their way home without having to drunk drive or sit on the bike while it rains. I really want this stop to be on this intersection, so during the day people take the metro to the park and during the night they'll take it for the pubs. I'm moving the fire station to this back alley, which seems to make a bit more sense anyway. And so let's see where this final station will go. I really want something near the old part of town. And looking at it from above, of course I want to add one stop in the health campus, but before we do so, I'm thinking we really need to add one more in this high density area. There's loads of people living here. I think this might actually be the densest residential area in Rosenburg at this moment, so we absolutely need a stop here. And I'll center it as best as I can. In my opinion, that leaves a pretty logical stop right here. We'll need to make some sharp turns to get into the financial district, but I think that's actually fine. It's just a short distance, so it won't get to full speed anyway. I think this line does a lot. It moves people from home to work, from home to leisure, and offers use to tourists to travel between the CBD and the Old Town. Interesting stories about metros in old towns. There's actually underground metros in Amsterdam, which has always been a bit strange to me. The Netherlands is basically one big drained swamp, and I think you're more likely to win the lottery than find a straight house in our old town squares. So who in their right mind would attempt to build under these houses? Apparently, Amsterdam proposed a metro plan in the 70s, along with a broad urbanized road, and people straight up rioted over it. Back then they couldn't just drill in the ground, so they had to demolish every house above the proposed metro line to construct the tunnels. People in the neighborhood protested as they felt their livelihood and historical homes were being sacrificed for car-centric and ambitious modern development. It became a really political argument. Despite the protests, the metro tunnel was put in, and on this photo you can see exactly how that looked. Thankfully, the urban road was not put in and some houses were actually built back, and some even older houses remained and were restored. For 20 years, no one in the city council dared to suggest another metro line be put in the city center until the early 90s. Metros became popular again and the council suggested one other line in the city center. This time they didn't need to demolish houses because of new drilling techniques, and when the citizens of Amsterdam could vote yay or nay for the metro, 65% voted in favor, which in my opinion is a pretty big group of people. I really like this story as it goes to show that city redevelopment was and always will be highly political and even controversial, and that throughout time the narrative surrounding city development can also change. In the meantime, I've put in all these stops. Let's leave that to run for a bit and we'll check back in later. I'm thinking we are not utilizing this tram and train connection to its full potential. The tram stops by the hospital, not too far away from the train station, and I think we should totally have a stop with this tram next to the train station. I feel like that will do a lot for us to make the train station a bit more accessible. That being said, shuffling these stops around, it does mean that the tram won't stop straight in front of the old people's home. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I think I will convert this middle road so we can still stop in front of the old people's home. People going to the hospital will have to walk a bit further, but I think generally people visiting the hospital tend to be better on foot than old people. This route looks good to me then. I'll update the roads and then we can check back in with the hotels. Oh, and look, we upgraded to the 2nd star. I didn't get a notification, but I'm guessing it doesn't give you a notification then. I'm gonna select a couple locations and pop these hotels in. I'll take you through my thinking process. This is a motel which in my opinion are the type of overnight stays that are cheap and easily accessible for people who are making a bit of a journey and want a low threshold cheap stay. It makes the most sense to me to put this maybe somewhere near an interchange or the industrial area, but this motel does ask for a bit of everything, so I think I will plop it right here. Not a big fan of this location, but for now it works. As for the Old Inn, I initially wanted a big fancy hotel in this financial district, but I think this Old Inn might do the trick for us at the moment. Looks like it would be quite popular over here. It's a unique looking building which has quite a homely but sort of luxurious feel to it, and it might be a popular location for non-Western business visitors. So I think this is a good fit relatively close to the International Trading Building. I'm zoning all this residential right here because it does seem like a nice place to live, but I think I should designate a couple of locations where the hotel should go as well. Maybe if I extend the block a bit actually. I decided to add another viaduct in here into the financial district, and I think the hotel should actually go on this road instead. Just seems like a bit of a better area in terms of facilities it asks of us. and actually is asking us for some shopping, which we don't have as much of. So let's zone in a couple of commercial options once we get there. And before we start doing any of that, I will connect this road into the ore industry just for connectivity's sake. I've put a couple of trees and bushes here for some decorations, and with this path, people can walk and bike off the road. And this hotel looks pretty good to me. I would have a field day grabbing a room at the back of the hotel to look at the trains all day long. We've put all the hotels in, as you can see, and let's just leave it to sit for a little while. It's been a hot minute since we've put in our metro line, and I'm super excited to have a look at its utilization. Oh my, and look at that, it's completely packed! That's amazing, I didn't expect this line to be this busy, but I'm happy that it is. This is exactly what you hope when you put a new line in. Let's put in some bigger vehicle with more room for passengers. And I think we can just go with the 360 people one. Should be more than enough to keep 3 of those carriages then. And let's leave this to even out again. So the very last thing I want to do is finish up these blocks around the train tracks. I do want to grow the city up until that 26,000 milestone, so let's round the episode off with doing a bit of population growth around this area. I think this is not particularly a desirable area, as it is in between tracks and quite a busy main road. However, it is close to residential development, so I'm thinking we should totally get a sports facility in. I don't want to put it on the main road, so I'll add this tiny road in the back. I'm mostly used to seeing football pitches in the Netherlands, but I think we have enough football fields for now. So let's put in a cricket pitch. I'm manually changing the heights as this main road goes down and the train track is on a small hill. But this looks good to me. I do want to add some parking, so I'm putting another bit of road around the sides here instead of the walking path, so we can put some parking on here. And honestly, I'm not gonna put anything else on this grassy patch next to the parking, so I'm going to landscape it and make it look like a little park to have a sit down after cricket. Now that we've added some sports facilities, I'm sure plenty of people would love to live right here, and this is a prime location if you ask me. I want to do something a bit different and not make this super dense. I feel like density should be decreasing somewhere around here. On the opposite side of the main road there's single family homes and we just built a little green area, so I feel it's most appropriate to not make this block super dense with residential. I will still put high density residential here, but I'm turning the houses off the through roads so we can have a bit more of a private street at the back here. I'm really doubting if I should put commercial here, especially because the backs might look a bit ugly from the main road, but we can just pretend it's commercial buildings that have an entry point in the front as well as the back. Very last thing, just forcing this odd shaped block here. I might build something in the future, but for now we'll just forest it up as a place to walk your dog or something. I'm noticing we've stopped the bike lanes here, but there's really no reason for that, so let me paint these green little lanes on the roads and then we can take a look at everything we've built this episode. I'm so pleased with the metro line. I am super happy it's being used loads. I can't wait to extend the metro line even further. Thank you all for watching and I hope to see you all for the next one. Bye bye!